Good evening. Thank you. Just nice introduction. So really, so that was almost 10 years ago, and I was here and at the talk. At that time, I remember well, some guy who was operating projector and completely dropped on my slide, and slide get disorders. And so I didn't know in which way I could talk, but and anyway, in such a way that was messed in the slide. Today I hope it works well, because a long time ago, that was middle 60s, that was more than 20 years ago, I met several of archigram groups, people. And before knowing them, I thought their imagination or their drawings are so fantastically technology-oriented. Everybody will be a kind of maniac technological operators, I thought, but actually they are not. They are very human, very, and maybe they use very low-tech technology just for drawings. I think so. That was, this kind of contradiction in behavior, also same time the imagination is very important for me. So, and because of this kind of very, humanistic approach to such a fantastic images. So their image is still very interesting to all of their architectural society in the world. So many times, from many occasions I met them, and I got strong influence from them, and some of their influence you can see in my buildings. But I worked mostly in Japan last 20 years, just last few years, and that was the beginning of this decade of 1980. I started to work outside of Japan, mostly in the United States. So today, I show you with a slide my recent works, mostly after 80, mostly last 2-3 years. Those are mostly the half projects for the competition, which I lost mostly, and others are just built buildings. So I think it's better to start with slides this morning. Is it working? This one? Yes. Okay. This is a project of the competition, and that was last year for the Phoenix city, and that is the capital city of Arizona State. And the program was to extend the city hall buildings and in the 10 blocks next to the city hall. And the Arizona is especially Phoenix, is a kind of city in the desert. And also this is very typical, they have the city patterns. On the very flat desert, they have just grid patterns, and on this grid, they built randomly all the buildings. So all such important buildings like Capitol or City Hall are all in this grid, in the frames. So my proposal on the left is to, there are some pointers here. This area is this is the old city hall. This is existing, and those are also existing, and those are the proposed area, and they just city hall annex and some courthouse and some commercial facilities in the same time. The main idea of my project is to build garden of desert landscape. So because this city built in the desert, like a man-made town like that. But I try to symbolize the garden as a desert, the desert as a garden in the middle of the city. And also, same time, I try to design such a plaza in such a very hot desert area as a people are not going to outside, just only staying only in the shade. And so the desert landscape is, with many contemporary sculpture, will be good for this kind of climate. But the jury, they didn't like my proposal because of the desert landscape is so funny in the heart of the city. And they chose a kind of very traditional European type of squares. And this architect tried to invite people in the very hot, under the sunshine, and proposing the many events outside. So it's very silly things I thought. And the idea of this structure is that this is a gate for the city, and this is the corridor of the city, and this is the big room of the city. And that is a very simple concept. And next, please. And some view of this complex is maybe this is around desert landscape, and also there are stepped buildings. And I found this building type of the Indian village where nearby the Indian built it. And all those are ruined already, but this kind of steps is very, I think, good for this climate. And also in the middle, there will be the sanctuary. And also that is also, I got the idea from Indian village. And next, please. This is a gate symbolizing the city, and also that is a pavilion which I called Phoenix Pavilion. So the idea of mine, something related to the history of modern architecture. For example, the outside of this town, Frank Lloyd Wright established Taliesin West. And when Frank Lloyd Wright was very young, and he was a pupil of Louis Sullivan, and in 1892 in Chicago, there was a big world fair called Columbia Exposition. And for that time, the Japanese government built one small pavilion based on Japanese traditional temple. This temple called Phoenix, the Phoenix Pavilion. And Frank Lloyd Wright inspired looking at this building, and he invented his own prairie-style houses. So he interested so much at that time about the Japanese traditional building, but especially Phoenix is a kind of medium, and he got. So I think I imagined, maybe why Frank Lloyd Wright decided to come to Phoenix is maybe related to this the memory which he saw in the when he was very young, and also that Phoenix, I think in the history of mankind, and it started maybe from nearby Tibet or somewhere, and one line it arrives to west, and other line it arrives to Japan at the Phoenix Pavilion, and from west, and it flied to and finally landed in the desert. This is the Phoenix. So I thought this kind of image games related to this one bird, legendary bird, is for me quite interesting. So I built one pavilion here called Phoenix Pavilions, like a Japanese temple. But this kind of idea is for the serious competition. It's not so strong idea they saw and the jury thought, so I lost. Next, please. And also, that time I proposed one dominating materials outside of the building is very red sandstone, which I saw long time ago in India, and that was a long time ago, when I was almost more than 25 years ago. I visited India. It was very hot season, and all of a sudden I visited Phoenix, Arizona. It was very hot season too. And immediately my memory came back from India to the Arizona again at the same time, that time. So I took, I studied about, Fatehpur Sikri in India, and there were quite interesting pavilion like in the middle of that. So again, Fatehpur Sikri is one of my source of my idea, and the Japanese pavilion and temple also. And in such a way, all about these images are mixed up here. This, next please. These materials, red sandstone, I used for the new building in Los Angeles, Museum of Contemporary Art. That is going to open to the public coming December of 10th. And for this project, I worked almost 6 years. And the situation is, you can understand on the right side slide, it's in the bottom of the tall skyscrapers. And also the concrete structure on the bottom here. Those are the garage. So this building is just like a floating on the 3 level of parking, and also developer. This was a gift building to the city, as the public. Developer asked so many very complicated restrictions at the envelope of the buildings, and anyway, the materials like red sandstone I found quite interesting under this kind of climate like Los Angeles. Next, please. So here you can see on the right side 3 level of garage underneath, and on top there are sunken gardens. and also underneath there are storage. So here is two level of street, and underneath this is the entrance to all the loading decks and the storages here on the level, and above there this is the level of the galleries, and so those walls are just half of the galleries, just a little bit visible on the ground. And next. And so here you can see the many materials and different materials which are used on this building. The red sandstone here, this is not polished. Only the stripe here are polished, but all others are just splitted out. And some glass block here and aluminum panel on top, and this is very special materials made in Japan called the crystallized glass. Next, please. So you can see more details. And the vault on the right side is covered by copper. Next. And those forms had some relation of my earlier works. This is one of the building of the middle 70s. It's a country clubhouse for golfers. And this building is well known as a shape of the question mark here, something like that, and dot here. Maybe sometimes I say why Japanese people like play golf so much. So that's my question. And next, please. And similar type of the roofs they are used for the complex of the city cultural center in Kitakyushu city, also in the middle 70s. But this is much larger scale building. Mostly this part is a library and historical museum here, or an audiovisual center, and all in the same type of the roofs, under the roofs. And next, please. And in the same city, this is the museum, and on the hill. And the only thing I was asked, no, not only one, most important thing I was asked by the client is this building should be visible from both sides of the hill. So it should be on top of the hill and has to be a kind of a visible monument, because of in Japan always this kind of cultural facility is very good for the important for the politicians for the next vote elections. So and the permanent collection in this tube, and this temporary exhibition space. And now I'm adding new annex around here. And next, please. And similar way, I use often very simple geometric forms like squares and circles. And square develops cube, and circle develops cylinders. This is a small town hall in the middle of mountain in Japan, and this was built late 1970s. And before I used only one form for one building, but one other system. But around that period, I started to use many different elements in one building, and also sometimes different materials too. So, for example, here this is granite and aluminum panels inside, and glass, and so on, and bricks, and at the base. Next, please. So this museum in Los Angeles, the design started around 1981. So many different forms are used in like a small village and inside the valley of the tall skyscraper. And it's pyramid like here, and cylinders and cubes on top and underneath, and and also square plan over there. And somebody mentioned very funny things about this pyramid. And at the beginning I thought I tried to plant palm trees on these rows, but finally some other architects worked on all the garden. He didn't plant any palm trees. If I got palm trees, pyramid and palm tree, very much symbolizing desert, like Egypt. And somebody said much more interesting thing. Maybe this that idea image symbolized the Los Angeles as a cultural desert. I don't know. That is the sculpture code, and this is a kind of gateway. And there and outdoor there are ticket box, and people can go down to the ground, underground, and the patio is very good for that climate in South California, and all the galleries on the one level. But recently, many critics are appearing in United States, and most of the critics I found very good for me, but everybody mentioned one thing: why people has to go down to the ground, underground. So it looks like not going to the very important building, but going down to the underground is like going to the subway. So this is not like going to the museum. So I didn't find this kind of response at the beginning, but so I found after that I look at all the traditional museums. Every museum has steps. So, but mine says they're completely reversed. Okay, next. Those drawings showing the basic schemes of the layout of the galleries. And here you can see two squares on one side here and other side here. And those, for example, this square is divided into golden sections. This is the golden section, and this is square, and again we have golden section here. In such a way, we have a kind of a spiral, something like that. This is very traditional way of dividing square with a golden section. So we have two spirals here and one spiral here again. So, and the facing two spiral create a kind of image of the Oriental pattern of yan-in. So, so I said this maybe the idea of the scheme is homage to the both West and East. For West of the space division as a golden section, and if for the East is a kind of yan-in pattern. But I don't know. So, but this is that kind of explanation is very good to the Los Angeles people, because they are thinking, this is the center where the East and East-West meet. So next, please. There are the series of the galleries, and and I had very, very strong architectural committees. They were my client, direct client. And they forced me to do most simple building, not many decorations. So I think, okay, and so in such a way, in which way I can design the museum. So the gallery itself has to be a kind of a backdrop of the artworks and nothing else. So building, so they sometimes on the discussion they say, building has to be disappeared. Okay, so maybe, but even in such a case, we need shelter, we need control of light, and we need of the organization of circulations. So the purpose which I try to get is as many as possible of the different in the size and scales and proportion and condition of natural light. Many different scale and situations, like square and double squares and golden section, rectangular, and so on. And those gallery has different proportions, different heights, different condition of light. Please, next. For example, one of the large pyramids is the main and the first gallery and after the entrance. And you can see there on the right side, skylight is coming just directly from the top. And next, please. And second gallery. This is rather, compared to the others, a bit dark because of something. I try to get something different atmosphere. And they found Mark Roscoe painting is very good for these rooms. So in such a way, I think not necessary to be everywhere homogeneously, and has to be different. So if we design a different space, a different atmosphere, and curator and people would find much more, what kind of art would be good for that. And next, please. And that kind of pyramid, sometimes I use in my building, but this is not skylight. This is just roof, but very small skylight on top. And this was the entrance hall to the old farmer's house, which is renovated to the theater on the right side. It is an experimental theater in the Togamura and in Toga village in Japan, and every 2 years here they have international theater festival here. Next please. And this is the entrance under the gateways, and people can see the street outside, and this is street level, but this is a little bit step up for the sculpture garden. Next, please. And showing sunken garden or other courtyard, and so you can go down and come into the main entrance hall. Next. And some interiors of in the office on the right side and the left side. On the right side is under the wall, on the vault. That is a boardroom. The roof ceiling is just concrete, completely exposed. For example, Louis Kahn designed very beautiful museum in Fort Worth and Kimbell Museum. And at that time, he used barrel board for the roof. And I thought this is very easy to make in United States. So I proposed that, but they failed 3 times to make it. And finally, not good quality things and I got. So I had to wash all the surface. But in United States, to get this kind of delicate craftsmanship is very difficult getting. Next, please. And some materials, and red sandstone on the right side. The floor pattern on is no mines. And on the left is the penthouse of the painted dark green panel of aluminum with a pink stripe. Next. Next, please. This is very just recent. Similar type of the museum, which I am working right now, but in the south of France, nearby Nice. Here is a city of Nice, and this is the Cannes. And in between these 2 cities, they are building a kind of a new science technology city called Sophia Antipolis. And one gallery owner in France, his name is Daniel Tampron. He established one foundation, like a Merck Foundation in nearby this place, and he tried to build a new museum of contemporary art. So I was asked to do that. So this is the site right here. But this is very early stage. Just I showed my early stage design. Next, please. The idea is very simple, very traditional. For example, in the middle, there will be courtyard, and surrounding the courtyard, there will be a kind of a series of traditional type of the galleries. And this building will be permanent collection, and other side is temporary exhibitions, and those are the offices. And chapels here. And for example, that chapel will be decorated in all the interior will be Solvit. Solvit will decorate all the interior. And each room will be dedicated to one artist's work. And the next, please. So this is the entrance here, and galleries are series of galleries and terrace. And those are very simple layouts, and with skylight and same type of the Los Angeles, and a little bit different layout of the galleries. Next, please. So here you can see similar forms of, with a Mocha building in Los Angeles, kind of pyramid on the vault, and some skylight system. Next, please. This is some of the images. This part is galleries, and this one too, very similar to the Los Angeles. And this is the main entrance hall with skylight from top, and auditorium and library here, and storage underneath. This is the silhouette of the chapel. The next, please. Until those projects are mostly my, rather I say, my formalistic side of the project. And next few building has some relation to about the highly developed technologies. And these two slides, it's the was the 1970s at the Osaka World Fair. I think in that time, Archigram was invited. Dave Crompton was here at that time, and inside the big roof, and they showed some projects here. And that time I worked on also the main structure and concept of this structure. With this is a very big space frames, and I worked on all the mechanical, electrical, electronic control system inside of these structures. So this is called Festival Plaza, and actually I worked not building that time, mostly a kind of engineers, for the theatrical lighting, and some robot which I designed. That was a very early stage of robot. Maybe if this is today, I can develop much more sophisticated way. But that time, even in Japan, no factory accepted, tried to accept to design, to build the robot. But now there are many. And so finally I found the factory which was making train bodies. Because those are the train bodies are custom made. So they had some experience. And so this looks like very heavy, like trains. Okay, next. And later on, the late 1970s, I worked on the one exhibition center of West Japan. Also, that is a kind of convention center. And that time, I used this kind of suspension structure to get very thin roof, very narrow depths of the beams. Next. So this building has many metaphors at the same time related to the water. for example, this was built in the former pier and at the harbor, and so that kind of pole is a kind of related some image to the sailing boat, and also same time bridge, same time waters, and so on. Next. And some other building, which is the dining hall or gymnasium for workers in the factories, which is making brown tube and some glass blocks and crystallized glass, such a glass product, special glass product. It's a company called Nippon Electric Glass Company. The simple structure and steel structure I used, and for the wind and earthquake, I had to use this kind of bracing outside with a glass block for the skin. And next. And that kind of works on using and technology or the technology images. Also, I'm working in Barcelona, which before my lectures, and people from Barcelona had a talk, and that this is the Olympic gymnasium for the Olympic. This this was a competition entry project which I did, but Gregotti and Korea working on this renovation of the old building of the stadium, and also the plaza here. And my building of the gymnasium is here, is located at the beginning, but it is replaced on that side, and this building went the other side. This because of field doing the building around here. That is the gymnasium for the about 13,000 spectators with a 200-meter track inside. The idea of mine is to build first with a reinforced concrete structure with a stand like that, and build all the roof on the ground, something like that. And so we get finished everything, roof and interior finish on the ground, and that part too. And next, please. And there are hinges, and we push up from this point, hold the structure like the bird wing. And next, please. And this height is about 45 meters. Very tall, so I think in such a way we can eliminate all the scaffoldings underneath, and also the very simple way to construct on the ground. And when we pushed up all the structure there, and we clip the connector or at the end of the structure like this. So, for example, the point, if you look at the point here, it moves very complicated ways. At the beginning, it's coming something like that, and go down that way and come back to that on straight position. On the right side is a section which is And I use the whole structure as a space frame. But space frame, all the ball and the joint of there is something different. So I use a robot, going to use a robot connected with computer, and the robot can make a hole in the ball joint in very different directions automatically. And so I think the production of each point is not so difficult at this moment. But I think maybe on the construction sites, if all the ball joints comes or not in the order, maybe, I don't know. It will the next, please. And next project is the recent renovation of the old theater in New York called the Palladium to the nightclub. This was old theater of 1920, and recently this theater, it was very good, one of the important theater in New York. But after 60s, it gets the faded down, went down. But still, there are very interesting story. Rolling Stone, when they came to United States, this was the first place they had performance. So, but after that, not many things happened. Rory Anderson did, John Kay did, but not many audiences they got. So finally, this theater was sold, and one developer got, and he asked me to convert all the theater into the nightclub. Outside, I didn't touch at all, so you can see the outside any differences. And if you come inside, there are very simple white painted entrance here. So those are the columns which are there before. So just I covered those areas and left that columns. And also, and then you come into the very narrow area, very dark, like going to the underground and under the sea. So there on the right side there will be there are code check, and I made a staircase here. But also at the same time I designed those carpet and getting some related image of the waves of the water, and those staircase on the stepping floor is made by glass block, and those lit from underneath. Sometimes this picture looks like upside down, but actually, all the light not coming from the ceiling, but from the floor. And the next, and focus please on the left side. So from that point, people come in and stepping on this light and glass block and lit from underneath. So going up from the bottom of the sea, going up to the heaven, something. So that is the old structure you can see, all decorated, very old ornament. And I inserted a kind of frames inside of the building. Next. Yeah, this is much easier to understand all the situation. Though I didn't touch anything on the existing building here. This was a stage somewhere there. So I'm using all the mechanism of the stage mechanism, and also I added some of them. And a new proscenium arch here, and so after this, underneath there are dancing floor, and this is surrounded by the walk corridors, promenade. And for example, some old decorations of the building visible here, and also I added new structure on the staircase, just parallel to the old. Next. And for this building, many artists and I worked with. This is the one of the vestibule to going to the main hall, decorated by Francesco Clemente. And there are other rooms we call Michael Todd room, because the Michael Todd he was a very famous producer, or director, the producer, and he used use this room. So this room named after his name, and some decoration of murals by Jean-Michel Pasquier. And all the decoration had some images related to the Jean Cocteau's movie of Beauty and both animal, huh? Beat. Okay, next. So we use all forms of the theater, the sitting places and bars here, and some special lighting system, because this is all the nightclubs, no natural light, everything artificial. Next. This is the main dancing floor here, and frames are surrounded. And those are the kind of promenade, so people can look down from there and also from both this side. This is a very big speaker. And many equipment are hung from the ceiling. Those are the video screens with 25 monitors. And those are the special lighting system called the Valley Light. And a stage set here. So this is the kind of, when people are not many here, this come down and staying on the floor. And this is decorated like a Brooklyn 1950s image of discotheque of Saturday Night Fever. So you can dance inside of this kind of decoration, and later on you can everything go up and next and appears something like Keith Haring mural and many videotapes and video screens here, and this is a kind of a very big giant robot hanging this heavy screens from the ceiling, and we can turn and going up and down, and so all kind of sound, light, images, and with the video, and everything, all that kind of technology can concentrate, and we can concentrate in this very intensively inside this space. Next. Again, going back to this very serious project, this was a competition for Tokyo City Hall this year, springtime. So in Tokyo, it is going to develop very quickly. And one area called Shinjuku. This is a station is there, and mostly the busy downtown area is around here. But on the other side, they are developing very big business center here. And government developed all those areas, and 3 blocks are left for City Hall site. And 9 architects are invited for the competition in Japan. And so you can see the site here. So already there are many tall skyscrapers. Maybe I don't know how many, maybe more than 10. And so that was so the city of Tokyo want maybe 2 skyscrapers on both sides and 1 council chambers on that side. So anyway, that was the program which we are given. And next, please. And this is the winner by Kenzo Tange. And I think he proposed, just like the government wants, this is council chamber and 2 towers. And many people look at this, and it looks like a facade of Notre Dame de Paris. This is the lost one, which are all of mine. And I didn't want to, to build the same type of skyscrapers, because analyzing all of the very complicated activities of the city government, I found skyscraper type is not so good for that. So I proposed a horizontal structure, but I showed in detail later, and very simple geometrical forms of the sphere, the pyramid, and poles here. Next, please. So you see there the 2 blocks for the building and 1 block for plaza. This is a kind of a small conference room, building, an auditorium with a special structure for the plaza. And those are already built structures surrounding. Next. The idea of this structure is very simple. On that block, there are 2 parallel buildings with a facade of this kind of division of and each 6 floors with blades. So from here to there, about 300 meters, and this is 100 meters high. And anyway, we are asked to build more than 250 meter high tower for the telecommunication all over Tokyo. So I just designed that very simple poles. And next, please. The building itself divided into 4, and to compose a large space somewhere here. And on top, we have some covered roofs, and both sides we have walls. And this is the kind of colonnade with the auditorium on here. Next. Just those computer graphic is just for studying the relating images to their surroundings. Because it is interesting in Japan, in this, especially this area. This tallest one was the first, and next going down, lower and lower, and finally this was built and this was built. So why not getting much lower. So that was my idea to make that. But still, the government want tall building. That's funny. Okay, next. So this is maybe showing this level. So we have hanging gardens in the middle, and very flexible automatized offices, office automations. Next, please. And the roof. That's a governor's office surrounding here, and council chamber on top. Next. And maybe inside we have a very big atrium. From here to there about 100 meters, and maybe we have a 30-meter high pyramid on top. Well, this kind of computer graphic is very useful to study of the space inside of this kind of unusual scale. Next, please. It's around two sections and perspective. I compare the space inside of this structure with St. Peter's, St. Pietro in Rome, and the main dome, which is Michelangelo designed, is something like that. So all this, and St. Pietro is something like this. So maybe double size of the St. Pietro. Next, please. Go back to some built buildings of the museum. This is what my first museum building the middle 1970s in the Gunma Prefecture Museum of Art. This time, I just started to use very simple geometries with just squares, repeated all over. So it came up to the very simple cubic frames as a structure, and it is all the surfaces are also divided into squares. Next. The idea of this space, the museum, is this is located on the lawn, like an English garden. So the idea is just thrown on the lawn, so those cubes on the lawn. And next, please. So this axiometric showing the basic frame of structure with cube. So I call this the basic structure of the museum. And inside usually very just neutral, everywhere the same. But for the use or the function, we need some more different idea to insert and change the inside of the neutral space. So I built for the office new smaller structures and some those rotating walls and some floors and hanging elements and staircase, and so I inserted a supplementary of the inside of this frame. So I call that supplemental structures. And combined. Next. The view from the inside, looking that and all this from outside. Next, please. Well, after 10 years, age 6 years, and age 7 years, I was asked to design a very small museum for one person, one artist. And this artist is still is my generation. And he was very happy to, the city is very small, but this city decided to make a museum just for him. And my idea is, so look at here, these are trains and running on the railway here. And this side is just parallel to that. So I got the idea of the trains back here. This is the entrance anyway. Yellow wall is a gallery, and brown opal is the vestibule or the anteroom. Then this area is for showing his work of 1960 and 70 works, 80 works. I hope he worked in the next decade. And just like train, going on and connecting each other. So the train comes here. Next please. This is the vestibule. Here, on each part, each decade, this artist, his name is Tadanori Yoko, he's a graphic artist. He changed his own style and his interest. And around between 60 and 70, he interested so much about occultic images. He painted, used many occultic images like of UFO, some religious things and everything. So, and also same time that he had a pyramid, he interested over the pyramid. So I made one pyramid here, just on this period. This is chronological. So I think coming here from this anteroom, I use the pyramid here, try to test so-called pyramid power. So this pyramid is just exactly same angles of the Egyptian pyramid, and also the direction to the north is also same. So I read book of something like pyramid power or something, and I followed exactly same way that, and I built, but nobody gets powers. I don't know why. Anyway, this is if you come here to visit and try that. Next, please. So this is the interior of this that part. It's a kind of symbolizing a kind of his image also against the paradise. So I planted one palm tree inside of the building. Next, please. So you can see here some of his works here. Something maybe he's quite well known as a graphic artist, and all of his works are in the collection of Museum of Modern Art in New York. Next, please. This is Tsukuba Center building, which I started to work around the end of the 70s, and around 78, and finished and completed 3 years ago, 83. And the program is to build a town center in such a, that kind of a new town. And this the program is to build one concert hall here, and hotel, and community center, and some shopping mall around here. And later on, the government, the local government, they built the shopping center around here, and still those areas are waiting to build. And I hope in the future, if we get some building related to this kind of building somewhere, this area and that area, maybe it will complete. So this is half completed squares. And the problem I had that time, it was a kind of a problem of style of buildings. This project is a Japanese government project, and also this has to be a kind of symbol of the something about a state or nation, because this city is the only one complete new town after the war which the Japanese government built. So many people asked, we want, they are my client, we want something very strong, simple, stylistic solution. Like some people want to have a Japanese style, and somebody like something very neoclassical styles. So for me, it was a very difficult situation to in which style I used for that to respond in their demand. So finally, my idea is to correct as many as possible different styles, to put everything in one space, in one place, to mix up and cancel each other, to be nothing. That was my idea, because I didn't believe Japanese government had such a very simple, strong image at this moment. The Japanese government, just like from my understanding, my opinion, is like a kind of business-oriented government. Nothing about culture, nothing about politics, nothing about foreign affairs. So I didn't want to follow their idea, and so I proposed, but I didn't say anything after I finished to them. Also, only one thing I tried to get here was the center. Center has to be void, like the Mocha in Los Angeles. Mocha, there we had a courtyard, a sunken courtyard in the middle. That idea and repeated, and that's what that idea started from here. So this was 2 years, 3 years earlier than that project. And because in some way, traditionally, in Japan, all these kind of important monuments have no center. Center, so from my opinion, has to be a void or nothing. Shouldn't be inside. No towers in the middle. Tower, even if we have towers, maybe not in the middle, somewhere else. So that's my idea. So this is the lowest part of the scheme. And next week. And based on Japanese idea of garden, traditional Japanese, Japanese garden always symbolize the ocean, because the idea of the garden is always to build a kind of a model of paradise. So Japanese thought paradise is not in this world, always somewhere behind the ocean. So the ocean and island is very important for Japanese, the concept of the garden. So I thought this must be in some way ocean. And so I built one mountain here, and mountain and water with a cascade start to go, and flow and this way and coming to there. And also there are cascade too, and this water come down to there at the end, bottom of there. So, and one other thing I asked to the sculptor and to symbolize something about there. So he made this not a tree, real tree, this is a sculpture, symbolizing Daphne, because the Daphne metamorphosed to the tree just beside of the water. So this water started to run into the ocean. And many times I was criticized to use, because I used the same pattern of the Campidoglio of Michelangelo did. But everything I converted into reversed. For example, if you look at the book, this part is black and the other part, this part is white. So color I reversed. And also, if you go to the Campidoglio in Rome, you have to go step up, and all the space has mounted. This is the highest part of this product, but mine is the lowest. So I think, again, in the shape it is converted. And in such a way, I use the patterns, but not followed really that kind of design. And I put many, I quoted. Anyway, this is a kind of building of the quotations. And I quoted from my own works, and somewhere, maybe you can see here some of the Ledoux or Bourret and some other people's works, and from everywhere. Next, please. Maybe here, so that is a kind of rusticated columns. And this is maybe in some way Japanese garden. I don't know where it came, but those are all assembled here. Next, please. And this is the main lobby of a concert hall. Again, you can see here the frames of the cube. And all the pattern on that inside the cube is a twisted grid. It projected on the walls. Next. Inside of the concert hall, all those walls are movable, and some ceilings are movable just for the acoustic, for the depend on the type of the concert. From the resonance range from 2 seconds to 1.4. Next, please. And the main lobby to the hotel. And here I use crystallized glass, and the same material which I use for the lobby of Mocha, and also some other building which I showed. And next. Some detail of staircase. It is a reverse perspective, or no, emphasize the perspective. Next, please. And dining hall on top, and banquet. Maybe it's, this image is related to the stage set of Shinkeo, of the magic flute. But this is three-dimensional. Next, please. Oh, this is the sculpture, which has some ropes with gold. Next, please. Next. The materials I use here is luster tile, aluminum, and hammered concrete, and yeah, and with lustered and non lustered, and many different, but a very narrow range in grade. And so when we get like the sunshine, we get many different reflections. Next, please. This is the latest project which I did last summer for the competition in New York, for the Brooklyn Museum extension. And last month just I won. This is a museum. The competition of this museum was held end of last century, I think around 1890. And Mackie, Mead, and White, that period, the most famous architect firm with the Beaux-Arts style. And their plan is very purely representing the Beaux-Arts style. And one facade and a little bit here was built in 20 years, in 20 years. So that means at the beginning of this century. And building and construction stopped at that time. And now the museum want to extend to the next century to complete whole scheme. That was the program of the competition. And next, please. And this is a scheme of original scheme of Mackie, Mead, and White. Only that part was built. That means only there, one court and one entrance hall and so on. But it's so strange. Originally they built this big staircase, but later on they took off to get much more easy access with that staircase. And anyway, the brief said they like to reconstruct maybe as large as possible at that time, that part, and it was free for the competitor to how to redesign all the structure. And next, please. This is the existing situation. And this building is located inside facing to the both sides botanical garden, which is designed by Olmsted. And this part is already our proposal. And then next, please. Our scheme is, this is existing. So our scheme is, there are the facade here, and there are one diagonal street on this side. So we took whole scheme, original scheme of Mackie, Mead, and White, something like here, and we rotated this whole squares into the parallel to this street. And some parts we repeated here and repeated here, but many new elements are added. And there are one, this is that way, and that line goes that way. So this line is just on the symmetry of that. Next, please. So you may understand that this is existing here. So, and all other parts we added. From here, this is the existing part, and this is main entrance hall, and those areas are already reconstructed as original, but all others are completely reorganized, has to be. Our idea is not following directly to the Beaux-Arts style, but in the frame of the Beaux-Arts. Beaux-Arts has very strong geometrical systems always. But so this cube, exactly based on the original, and this area also. And only this end and the other end here, we used the original same forms, but all others are completely different. And this area, mostly new galleries. And also, this is again a temporary exhibition space, and dining rooms, and some courtyard enclosed to showing, displaying the collections. And this is also, again, the inside and covered structure, covered space with a sculpture courtyard, and some inside the courtyard also a sculpture will be shown. And the symbolic elements we put here is a kind of obelisk, and hollow obelisk. This is the kind of a circulation center. So people come in that side on the other side and come up here and rotate and circulate in every direction, so that way, in such a way. And also, this museum is well known as a collection of Egyptian collection, and they say maybe the largest collection outside of Cairo. So we propose a kind of, not real pyramid, but a kind of obelisk as a symbol of the building. Next, please. Those are our entry and drawing and render drawings. This is the inside of the obelisk, and some study of the gallery and the public space. And this is view from Botanical Garden. Next, please. So this is the existing part, and from here, this is the added part. So our idea is this building. This building will have a kind of evolution in style, because they had a very strong classical Beaux-Arts,